Hey Libra, this is Michael with your May 2023 reading. As I was just connecting with your energy, I really felt and saw this just pure white light. And I know that sounds really cliche, but it wasn't about what I saw, it was about what I felt. And it just felt so simple, it felt so holy. And I feel like there is this moment in the month of May where you are really touching into this divine. And it kind of happens all of a sudden. It's like it's like when you visit a place or the metaphor that's actually coming is really weird. It's like I'm getting this story of a person who goes and talks to a river every day. And you go to this river one day and you speak to it and it speaks back to you. It's like that very unexpected response. Um, and I mean, that's just the story. But it's like maybe you're sitting in meditation. Maybe you are just doing some sort of energy work or connecting with your guides or just opening your heart up in some way. And you get a very beautiful and unexpected response, and it just kind of takes your breath away. It's beautiful and pristine, and it's like you don't even know what to do with that. You weren't even really expecting it. And that's very interesting. Thinking of the astrology this month, we do start off with a lot of very unstable or unpredictable energy. And at the same time, it's almost like whatever is happening around you, Libra, whatever dramas or whatever sort of conflict or tension or whatever it is that normally just pulls you right in and kind of takes you away, whisks you away. It's like you're present in a completely different way. And part of this month's theme for you, there's actually a lot of occult exploration. And like kind of exploring mysticism and spirituality, particularly while we are in Taurus season. And I feel like some of you are really exploring the occult and maybe even, mediumship or psychic abilities. And it could quite literally be a voice or some sort of response that you receive. I know this sounds like a really crazy reading, and this usually isn't like my style, but it's what's coming for you. And so I really get this sense there's something very spiritual that is happening, and it comes in a very unexpected way. It's not like you can just go out and intend for this to happen. It just kind of does. And it feels like some of you are literally channeling something or just touching into source or God or the divine. And that energy is changing something in you. If you're excited for this month's reading, then definitely be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the bell notification so you're always up to date with what's in the cards for you. For those of you who are brand new to this channel, my name is Michael, and I utilize tarot and tropical astrology to intuit monthly forecasts for your zodiac sign. For those of you who are ready for a deep dive, you can find links for personal readings and distance Reiki sessions in the description of this video, as well as links for all of my other social media accounts. So the first couple of cards I actually have the Black Egg and the Owl. And when these cards came out, I kind of scoffed at it a little bit. It kind of gave me a bit of a smirk because it's like, I was saying, I saw this light. I saw this bright white light. And of course, the first card I get is the Black Egg. And I'm like, that's so interesting. But when I really was tapping into it, it's like, I don't think this is like a dark energy at all. And in fact, the Black Egg represents the throat chakra in the animal spirit deck that I'm using. And it's like truth. It's just truth. And the truth isn't always a scary and painful thing. That's something I kind of got for you. And then when I pulled the owl, again, by itself, this could seem like kind of a dark or mysterious or spooky energy, but I really don't get that. It's like you're seeing something very clearly. You're seeing in the dark very clearly. So your intuition is very, very strong. Your perception is very strong this month. And I feel like there's even these blessings, there's these opportunities that you are seeing. And that's interesting because the start of this month with the lunar eclipse in Scorpio could feel very destabilizing for you. There could be some sort of ending with your finances or some sort of change with finances or just, feeling insecure in some way. There's a lot of focus there. But on a deeper level too, it also speaks of just value as a concept abstractly. And value could be the things that you value, how you value yourself, your sense of self-worth. These are also things that could be changing or evolving as well at the beginning of this month. And it's interesting because it's like, with these change of values, maybe that's the thing where it's like you're exploring the occult more, which is kind of what Taurus season represents for you. And Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Taurus until the 14th. So you could be really rethinking spirituality. You could also be rethinking things that were once considered taboo to you as well. Yeah, Two of Pentacles in reverse, in kind of coming out first here. Things do feel wobbly. They do feel unstable, and maybe even something kind of has fallen over, and it does feel like a practical thing. Something might have been in a process of transition and things didn't go according to plan either. Let me pull a couple more cards here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to speak and shuffle at the same time. And I think with the Mercury retrograde right now, it's hard to communicate as I stumble over my words. So thank you for bearing with me there. I almost... Okay, this is interesting. With the owl... And now the Three of Cups and Six of Wands, this literally reminds me of the owls in Harry Potter that give you your letter to Hogwarts. And it's there's this invitation into this magical world that you may not have even known existed. And that's very much the vibe of this May. And this could be coming in through the form of a person as well. You could be meeting someone who really just opens your world, or studying or researching something that just this information is changing things for you. It's a paradigm shift for you. It does feel like there's actually another person here with the Three of Cups. Or maybe even a group of people or a sort of community. And it's very healing for you with the Six of Cups. My goodness. It feels like there's the return of something that it's almost like you forgot was even there. I feel like this is the group of people where it's kind of like a cliche, but it's a lot of people are very psychic when they're children. They have psychic experiences, they have imaginary friends, and then they kind of forget about it as they grow up. I know for myself, when I really started developing my clairvoyance again in my 20s, at first I was like, oh my God, this is a brand new thing. I'm seeing energy for the first time. I'm seeing entities. And then I kind of looked back on my childhood and I'm like, no, I definitely was seeing energy a lot as a kid. I didn't think of it in that way. I didn't have a context for it. And so I kind of just forgot. And of course, there's also psychic trauma where you might see things that scare you or you see things that you're not supposed to, and that can cause you to shut out as well. But it's there's the return of something that's very deeply healing. It's not scary. And that's kind of the thing with the black egg and the owl. It's this thing that might scare some of you or might frighten some of you, this experience, feels very natural. It feels very organic. Ooh. Okay, sorry, I just had a bunch of cards fall out here. A lot of messages at once. But one of the cards that came out first was the Eight of Swords. And This can be kind of a card of self-imposed limitations or limiting beliefs. So that might be something that you are healing or addressing this month, and maybe that's even regarding like your sense of value or worth. The interesting thing is, Libra, the astrology, where it's going, especially in the second half of this year and into 2024, it's like you're shedding an old version of yourself. You're shedding versions of you that aren't, authentic to you anymore or that you've outgrown. And there's actually a lot of focus on you because we have the South Node entering into your sign in July, and we're entering into this eclipse cycle, where we have these eclipses in Aries and Libra. We actually just had the first Aries eclipse in April, and we're going to have the first Libra eclipse this October. And this is kind of part of the transition of this change, this turning of the wheel, the turning of the cycle. We are wrapping up the Taurus-Scorpio cycle, which for you has been a lot about, values, finances, but really ultimately like your sense of worth. And honestly, it almost feels like some of you have been like leveled financially, like you kind of had something unexpected come up, unexpected expenses, and it's like, I don't even necessarily feel like you're devastated, but it feels like there's kind of a blank slate. Like you have been cleared out. And it's kind of humbling in a way, but it's making you kind of look at who you are without it. That's a really interesting message. Please let me know in the comments down below if that's resonating or how that's connecting with you. And it might not connect with you right now as you're watching this. It might be something that kind of happens organically over May. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. Because your sense of worth isn't about like what you're doing all the time or what you're making. And it's like going deeper. And I feel like part of this maybe restriction to your abundance could perhaps be a self-imposed limitation or limiting beliefs. Some of you are doing shadow work around abundance as well. Yeah, we have the Queen of Pentacles with this Eight of Swords. It's everything I was just talking about. You can be abundant. I feel like some of you are also working with herbs or like holistic healing. And that's something that's really speaking to you right now. And like specifically like green witchcraft or green magic is also something. And like, earlier I had that story of like talking to a river and then one day it responds. I could also see that with like trees or like connecting spiritually with plants. It's like you're very connected to nature, actually. And I feel like that's an important thing to incorporate into your spiritual practices or even your magical practices. I'm getting that for some of you. I'm literally seeing green right now as I'm talking about this. And sometimes that can be like working with nature. And also finding balance and enterprise, abundance. We have the Ten of Cups. There's a lot of happiness and a lot of connection and unity. And I feel like this is unity with the divine, actually. I feel like some of you are just overflowing with this light. And for those of you who are light workers, for those of you who are healers in some capacity, or even like therapists, or caregivers, or teachers, it's like you give so much of your light to other people. It's like you're finally you're giving yourself your light. You're giving yourself your light. You're basking in your own light. Or in the light of God, the light of spirit, the light of the universe, whatever it is that you connect with, however you define that. Queen of Cups and Strength. Queen of Cups is very intuitive, very psychic, very spiritual, all the things we were talking about again. And the Strength card really is like, there's so much emotional maturity that you have. And like, that's the thing, I forgot to mention this. When I was tapping into the light, it wasn't like this feeling of ecstasy. It wasn't this like wild transcendent thing, even though it was very unexpected and like, it was like, it should be weirder than it was. It feels very normal, very grounded, and very humble, again. It's just very natural. Like, you're not trying to amp yourself up or doing anything like that. It's just like you very naturally are flowing with light right now and connecting to that light. And the Strength card represents Leo energy, which is the sun. And so as we are getting into Leo season, there could also be some shifts later this summer for you. Also Cancer energy, Cancer, Leo, that's the order of the seasons. I feel like this summer in general is bringing a lot of flow, a lot of happiness. And it's like the kind of happiness that just spreads. And like energy doesn't lie either. Like if you're really burnt out and you're trying to give to everyone, that energetic exhaustion does add up. It does accumulate. And even if you're present for other people, it's like on the energetic level, energy doesn't lie, you guys. And even speaking very authentically, like as a reader, like if I'm not feeling the light fully in myself, like it's not going to reach as many people. And I feel like you are coming into this light. And you're really touching people on a very deep level. And that's the thing that's most important, that nourishes your soul the most. You are the light, you are the light. I keep hearing that. You are the light that you've been looking for. You've been wandering in the darkness. And it's like you are the person you've been looking for. The wisdom you have is the wisdom you've been seeking. And I feel this like, almost like a trance kind of connection right now. And you're blossoming into something. There's this like lotus that is blossoming. Something is happening with your crown chakra. And that's what I mean. It's like this light, this energy that's above your head. It's almost, it's like barely perceptible, but very bright and very radiant. It almost feels like an enlightenment. Is there anything else? Anything else? Anything else for Leo? Or Libra? Anything else for Libra? I'm getting a lot of feathers and flower petals, kind of like blowing in the wind. It feels very angelic to me. My eyes were closed. You saw that. And the card I pulled was the Courageous Peony. This flower. This unfolding. Multifaceted, unique nature. Let yourself be seen. I did see this as a lotus, but it was very multifaceted, and like, it's so funny. I was even taking pictures of flowers this weekend and like last week and just zooming in, and it's so beautiful. I love this season. It's so beautiful to like look so closely into a flower, because when you zoom in, it's like a whole other world in there. And I feel like you are just finding these worlds within yourself, these dimensions within yourself. And psychically, what I'm going to share with you is like when we talk about higher dimensions and higher states of consciousness, as humans, we often interpret that as something that is above us or something that is beyond us. But the truth is, the higher dimensions, the higher states are actually inner dimensions. They are inner states. And I feel like you are blossoming into that. And, you know, your unique nature, let yourself be seen. You are unfolding into something. And I think this is kind of part of the journey for the next couple of years for you, is this unfolding, and you're letting yourself be seen. And with the North Node entering into Aries in general, which happens in July, there's a lot of authenticity that is coming into focus. Like people are feeling more inspired to be authentic and to be themselves and to be very true to themselves. And I feel like you don't have to be just one thing. I actually want to read this card. I'm going to read this to you directly. That is how I'm going to close it. And as I said that, there was a little moth that just flew by. So there is a transformation that is taking place. What do we have? Okay, I'm going to read this. Flowers don't open and close according to who walks by. They embrace all of what they are, and they show it to the world around them. The peony doesn't try to compete with the cherry blossom, and the cherry blossom doesn't try to compete with the tulip. They own what they are and trust the timing of their true nature. You're being called to do the same. It's time to open yourself up to being seen. Time to share your incredible, multifaceted, true nature with the world around you. To uncover and reveal your soul's greatest gifts without wavering. To own your uniqueness without apology. There's a flower on this planet that holds the same qualities that your soul is readying to express. Let it inform you. You may have been taught that it's safer to keep your light hidden and your voice small, to hide behind the bushes instead of growing tall. The courageous peony is here to remind you that it's safe to embody all of who you are. It's safe to share your voice and let yourself be seen. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, and you may be afraid of what others think. Little by little, you realize that it draws in those who are meant for you, and experiences you've been longing for arrive at your feet. How are you being called to allow yourself to be more visible and seen in the world? And the whole time I'm like biting my tongue, because there's so many things I just talked about in this reading where it's like, I feel like some of you are connecting with plants. You're literally doing green witchcraft. You're doing green magic. And in this card, it's literally telling you to find your sort of spirit plant. People have spirit guides that are animals. We also have spirit guides that are plants. Plants that kind of represent our vibration. I'm looking down in this 1111 right now, by the way. So some of you are really connecting to the plant kingdom. We're very connected to the Fey realms as well, which are very connected to nature and animals and plants. We are in Beltane, which is literally when the veil is thinnest. It's like the opposite of Samhain, which is in October, where it's kind of the portal between this world and in death. Death, as things are hibernating and falling away, it opens up a portal. Right now, it's the opposite, where it's all of these things are blooming and coming to life. There is this portal from the spirit world that is opening up, and there's a lot of Fey activity and a lot of nature spirits that are coming in, and they are speaking to you very literally, like I said at the beginning of this reading. Wow. I'm so glad that I read directly from this. I felt like I needed to do that. Um, what was the other thing that was really coming in? There's another thing about the courageous peony. It actually made me think of the book Braiding Sweetgrass. It is this indigenous author. She is a PhD botanist, and she's also indigenous. And she she had a chapter about goldenrod and asters, and one of the things she wanted to study in college, in her university, was why do these plants look so beautiful together? And she gave this very poetic kind of explanation of why she wants to study botany. And the professors laughed at her face. They're like, we're scientists. We don't do that. We're not poets. We're here just for the facts. But she talks about this in this chapter, and as she goes on, she actually literally finds out that there is a reason why goldenrod and aster look so beautiful together. It actually attracts pollinators. And it reminded me of this explanation where it's like these plants aren't competing with each other. They're actually supporting each other by letting their own beauty shine and letting their light be seen. And that's the thing, it's not about competition. Like I think that's kind of part of glow up culture and social media right now. It's almost like being the best, being the most beautiful, being competitive. But it's like, no, when we are flourishing, we all flourish. It spreads. It's this 10 of cups. It's this beautiful light that shares and emanates. You help other people see their light. And that's part of this shift that is happening. You are tapping into your light, Libra. Oh my God, this honestly feels like the most important reading I've ever done for you. So I hope that this resonates. I hope that this gave you a lot. Definitely hit like and subscribe if it did. It helps this channel. It helps me continue putting out all of these messages for all of you. And I loved all the synchronicities in this reading. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below what synchronicities you're seeing in your own life right now, and what came up in this reading. Would love to hear it. For those of you who feel so called, there are also links in the description box for donations. But again, any way that you support this channel is greatly appreciated. I do also have links for personal readings and distance Reiki sessions. It really was such a pleasure doing this reading for you, Libra. And I will see you all next time. Take care and have a happy and blessed